I'm revealing Hollywood's secret hat maker. I'm on Los Angeles and 5th Street in downtown LA at the B Black & Sons building. You simply go inside the building and we're gonna go to that 3rd floor where Baron Hats is located. What I loved about this building is that it actually has an elevator operator. He's working that elevator and he'll direct you to the floor you want to go to. Once you get to your desired floor, which in my case is the 3rd floor, the door literally opens up and you are inside Baron Hats. Guys, this studio feels like you're in a museum of Hollywood movies. Mark Mejia has been making hats for over 30 years and he probably has made that hat your favorite actor is wearing in your favorite movie. Mark shared with me that more than 70% of his business is directly correlated or connected to the movie industry. This tool here is called a conformateur and it was made in the 1800s. Mark is going to be using that tool to measure my head in order to make a hat. Make sure that you stay tuned to see that part. Guys, all the hats that I'm showing here, Mark has actually made by hand in his shop in downtown LA. There is not one thing he outsources, and I'm gonna show you in the end when we go to the back so you can see his equipment and machinery to make these hats. Edison Baron is the founder of Baron Hats, which started in 1969. Mark Mejia was actually his apprentice and bought the business from him in 1995 to continue the legacy. When I first walked in and I saw these posters, I thought they were just decoration. But after talking to Mark, he told me that every hat you see in these posters, including Indiana Jones, were made either by him or his mentor, Edison Baron. Now these hats here are called Panama hats, and the highest quality of them is called Monte Cristi. The hats are weaved by hand in a small town of the same name in Ecuador. Mark is one of the few, if not the only person that I know that has access to getting these hats straight from the source. You can then have Mark shape these hats into a fedora or a Western hat. Okay guys, so here Mark is using the conformateur on my head, and besides giving me my hat size, this tool is so precise it will actually notate all the contours and the exact shape of my head. Just like measuring your shoe size, this is actually measuring the exact shape of my head in order for him to make a bespoke hat. He will have your 3D scan, if you will, thanks to this tool, and he can always make a hat for you, shape a hat for you based on your specific measurements. Again, I have to keep comparing it to getting a suit tailored. It's the same thing, but for hats. I was personally amazed by this. I had never seen any tool like this before, but again, it doesn't just do your head size, it's doing the shape of your head. So once you have this down, they can make a hat that fits perfectly and uniquely with your head. Somebody else tries it on, it will not fit the same way, unless you both have the same exact head, which I don't think is possible. Now that we're done measuring my head size ended up being about 22.5, I believe. And now Mark has all the contours and the exact shape of my head. So if I want a hat, I just contact him and he'll shape it to fit my head exactly. Now again, you guys and gals, going back to all the footage that I got from his studio, we got hats that he made for Rocky, we got hats that he made for the Orville here. He also did Oppenheimer, which is one of my latest favorite movies from Christopher Nolan. And so it's insane how much work Mark has put in terms of movies in general, but also his craft being appreciated and recognized by so many people. It also hit me after seeing all these photos and posters that hats are a crucial part of a main character in a movie. I realized that the main character, the hero or whatnot, is always wearing a specific hat, and this man right here is the one who probably made that hat. And again, guys and gals, now you can make these hats. The point of this video is for you to know that I'm revealing Hollywood's secret hat maker so that you can have access to him, all right, guys? Here he was showing me some of the hats he made for Beyonce. I believe he did this for the Formation Tour, which is already huge in and of itself. Now, I don't want to show you all these celebrities so you are deterred from going to Mark and getting your own hat. Hats in stock that start at $80, so don't be afraid of going in there, inquiring about hats, and potentially getting your own made. Now, if you want to make a hat from scratch with your own patterns, the hat could be around $500. Here, Mark is showing me this other tool called the vermilion, used so that Mark can keep the shape of the head of the customer and never make a hat that wouldn't fit them. And yes, that was Bob Dylan's head shape, or his vermilion, as well as Slash from Guns N' Roses. So if you want to do your own hat but don't have patterns or anything, you can just ask Mark, as he has multiple patterns for different hats. You do not need to be a designer. You do not need to know how to draw. You just need to have a right idea, and Mark can help you bring it to life. Now this part surprised me the most because we went to the back of this same studio and Mark has all these machines that I've never seen, first of all, but also every single machine has a different purpose when it comes to hat making. So he literally took making hats in-house to the next level because he has every single machinery, every single tool that allows you to make a full hat from concept all the way to final product in that same studio here in downtown LA. And just to notate this, some of the things that they do back here, right, include all the trims that they do for the hats. They dye the hats in the back. They shape the hats in the back. Show you everything through the tools that he's using. He gave me a demo, which I'm so happy about. But everything that requires hat making is in the back of this shop. Whether you want to just buy some hats that Mark has made, again, they start at $80 for the hats that he already made, you can do that. If you're looking for someone to make you a custom hat, just one piece, a bespoke hat, Mark is the guy for that as well. Now, lastly, if you're looking for a hat maker that can mass produce some hats for you to sell for retail, then Mark is also the guy for that. Let me just warn you, you cannot sell these hats for cheap. They're gonna be very expensive because every aspect of the hat is made here in LA. And if you're gonna be making hats with Mark for you to resell, make sure that you educate your audience and tell them that everything is made in LA. Every single piece of the hat is made here. Make it part of your story, actually. If I was starting a luxury hat brand and use someone as skilled as Mark, then I would actually ask him if I can come to the studio and document the process of how we make the hats. And I would share all of that in my social media. I would have endless content to share. The things that go right when I'm making a hat, all the mistakes that happen when I don't do the hat right. And also you bring Mark into your team and give that transparency to your audience, that behind the scenes aspect that a lot of companies don't like to do. Now, why don't these big companies ever show their behind the scenes? My take is that their production facilities are actually not in the US. They actually manufacture overseas, predominantly China, right? So I don't know if they don't show it because maybe we don't even know what's going on in those production facilities. The point is, here in LA, we have all kinds of artists such as Mark, and that can give you a huge edge over the big companies by showing the behind the scenes, bringing Mark in and showing the process by which you do these bespoke hats. Overall, you guys, mad respect for hat makers such as Mark. All the information about them will be in the description. Tell them Gian sent you and say what's up to Patty and Mark when you go.